here at Cattlemen's Cafe, one of the oldest steakhouses in Oklahoma, to try their steak. There's lots of steakhouses here, but this one is the most reasonably priced. It is a fraction of the price of Delmonico's. So can it really be any good for that price point? Well, today we are going to find out. Come and join us.
Cattlemen's Steakhouse, one of the most iconic dining spots in Oklahoma City. Established in 1910, this legendary restaurant has been serving up mouth-watering steaks for over a century. Known as the go-to spot for ranchers, politicians and even presidents, Cattlemen's combines the old-school charm with unforgettable flavours. With rave reviews, we can't wait to try out this top-notch service.
Oh, this is the first meal of the day.
First up, we're diving into one of Cattlemen's most famous and slightly unusual delicacies, lamb fries. For those unfamiliar, lamb fries are slices of lamb's delicate parts, a dish steeped in tradition and a rite of passage for adventurous eaters. Customers describe them as tender, flavourful with a crispy coating, and that makes them a must-try. But will we be brave enough to take the plunge?
You go first. Do you want me to go?
You can tell by my face I am not looking forward to these. Have you seen how I create over tomatoes? They're flat! How is it flat?
Has it been squashed? I'm not sure I want to think about it.
At this point, I think I'm just getting a little too into my own head.
So these are lamb fries.
Apparently, the server said they taste like chicken. But I think I've heard that from every type of meat I've ever tried. Go! Should we go 1, 2, 3?
My mouth is salivating and not in a good way.
1, 2, 3.
But as the countdown ends, it's time to jump in and take our first bite.
I can't believe I've just eaten a lamb fry. It just tastes deep fried. It's not chewy. That was my main worry. I thought it was going to be really chewy. That's not as scary or as intimidating as I thought it was going to be.
It is kind of chicken tasty.
And you're getting a lot of the batter, which is crispy, cheesy.
The batter is delicious. It's
not greasy.
They are like chicken. I agree, they are. It does taste like chicken.
That's far less intimidating. We're growing up.
The lamb fries came with a side portion of dipping sauce, which we can only describe as a seafood cocktail sauce.
They don't taste lamb-like.
And although they tasted nice, the thought of what it is crept back into my head.
Wow. Let us know if any of you have ever tried these before. Because I think there's different names for these. I've heard of like Rocky Mountain oysters or something like that. Are they the same thing?
I don't know.
I've heard they're a similar kind of thing. Maybe I'm wrong with that.
Legend has it, in 1945, Cattlemen's Steakhouse was won on a single roll of the dice. Owner Hank Frey bet the entire restaurant against friend Gene Wilder's life savings. The stakes, Wade had to roll a hard 6 or double 3s to win. Against all odds, he did just that and became the new owner of Cattlemen's. And to this day, the number 33 is honoured on the wall of the Hereford Room, symbolising the gamble that secured the Cattlemen's place in history.
Somehow, I've ended up with a steak in front of me.
No surprise there. It always happens that way.
The test of a good steak is to see how easily you can cut through it. Look at that! Cooked medium rare to perfection.
Now it's time for what's meant to be the star of the show, the Porterhouse steak. Famous for its massive portions and incredible flavour, this dry-aged masterpiece is the cornerstone of Cattlemen's legendary reputation. Customers often rave it's the best steak they've ever had, but does it live up to the hype? And dare we say, could the dessert still steal the show?
This is 24 ounces of steak. It seems like an awful lot, and it has sear marks all over it. As you can see, the knife was gliding through that steak. It was so tender and so juicy. It was incredible. There was very little chewing involved, I have to say. And they didn't forget to season that steak. They had a healthy dose of salt and pepper on there. Oh, it was just incredible. We almost forgot we were in a restaurant with other people. We got carried away with ourselves. It was delicious. It's been cooked to a medium rare. It's a little less rare around the outside, but inside you can see that is definitely a medium rare steak.
And one touch which was brilliant was they ask you to cut into your steak when it's delivered to the table. I can't ever imagine a time where I'd send it back, but it was nice to be asked.
It's really tasty. We are going to go through how much this cost, what we thought, Whether it compared to Delmonico's, the answers may shock you. This is a 24-ounce Porterhouse.
This seems big. Because I'm sure the one at Delmonico's was bigger. That was 30-something, wasn't it? This looks similar size.
It does look a similar size.
So,
Doesn't look like there's much in it.
either this one's bigger or that one was smaller.
You don't ever get to see the scales, do you?
And to go with this massive porterhouse, we need something to eat with it. And
we've got a baked potato, and we got asked if we wanted it fully loaded. We didn't know what that meant, so I'm assuming we get to put all of these things on at the very same time.
common sense said we should go with the butter first. And why not just go with all of it?
So we had a dilemma. What do we put on next? The bacon or the cheese?
We figured we should go with the cheese next to get it to melt.
And then, of course, we had to put all the cheese on all at once. And then bacon. We got some chives. Or at least I think the chives. And then the sour cream.
And I decided to go for a large portion of the sour cream, because why not?
Look at that baked potato. That looks fantastic. It's time to try our concoction. So the aim here is to get a little bit of everything.
And while Nicola's tucking in, it's time for me to load up my fork with some of this delicious looking spud.
That is delicious.
And that's when the taste sensation hit me. The creaminess, the saltiness, the cheesiness.
The bacon, the cheese, everything works on its own and together. Cheese doesn't even need to be melted. I feel like we were being hard done to in the UK because on our baked potatoes, we just have baked beans and maybe a bit of cheese.
Beans and cheese. Or tuna and mayonnaise. They're the only two I reckon. The only thing I would say about the baked potato is I like the skin on the outside to be really crispy, and that isn't. Now, I don't know if that's obviously just a personal thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, is it supposed to be like that, or is that just something that I like?
Where do you stand on the crispy jacket potato skin debate? Please comment below, let us know what you think. And while you're there, please subscribe.
Then, of course, we had to move on to this bread. Just look at that. And it is warm. Oh, and it's so soft. And look, we just had to rip into that, and one of us decides to go straight in and the other decides to go for the butter. This is where we both scatter, and it's kind of sweet and soft and just doughy, and just, who doesn't love bread? It's so good.
These warm clouds of pillowy bread are only made better with the creamy salty butter. And it leaves us debating, do you think we could ask for a portion of this bread to go? Next, we're diving into dessert, and this comes highly recommended by our server. Cattlemen's famous coconut cream pie with its silky smooth filling, perfectly flaky crust and toasted coconut topping makes this pie a true standout. Many customers rave it's worth the trip on its own, but will this outshine the steak? It's time to find out.
Coconut pie?
That looks spectacular.
It really does. And this place we're in has been here since 1910. And the walls are full of cowboys. And I keep wanting to say it's Clint Eastwood, and that is John Wayne.
It is John Wayne,
I
yeah.
keep wanting to say Clint Eastwood.
Although he was a cowboy quite a lot, so. The place reminds me of the Golden Steer in the decor. It's kind of old, rustic.
This pie looks like nothing I've ever seen before, and even though Nicola says it's delicious, I need to try it for myself.
It's like a lemon meringue if lemon meringue was coconut.
This
Wow.
is delicious.
Wow, that is so sugary and sweet, isn't it?
Sorry, I forgot I was supposed to be here telling you what it tastes like. So when I first looked at this, I just thought it looks like a lemon meringue, but a coconut version. It had toasted coconut on the top, it had that meringue middle, and then it had the pastry base. And oh, the combination of flavours. If you like coconut, this is delicious.
Every layer of this pie had some element of coconut, and it left us both wondering why we'd never had this before. That is outstanding, and to think we nearly told the server we were full and we didn't want a dessert.
Yeah. I've engaged my second dessert stomach. So I think everybody has.
Well, like cows. Cows have multiple stomachs.
Yeah.
And because we're in Oklahoma,
Yeah.
Cow City,
This is specifically for desserts. Look at that.
it's really buttery though. Really smooth as well.
I knew we needed to try it because it's one of the things they're famous for here.
Oh,
But
really?
I wasn't overly that, you know, when something jumps out of you at the menu, you think, yeah, I've got to try that. I wasn't that. I didn't have that with that, but I'm so glad we did that. It's amazing.
And of course, when you're at any restaurant, you really should listen to the server's recommendations. And when she said, of all the desserts, we should try that coconut cream pie, she was so right.
Okay, so let's go outside
Yes,
and tell me what we thought.
exactly.
Okay, we'll be right back.
For the price point,
Absolutely.
which cost us this, could it be anywhere near as good as Delmonico's? Now, what I did notice about Cattlemen's is it was a little more chewy.
Yes.
There's a little bit more sinew.
Yes, there was a little bit more gristle in the actual meat that I noticed as well.
But bear with me on this because the price point was completely different.
For a quarter of the price, we got the same size meat, if not bigger.
And we are just being picky.
Yes.
We are really just being picky with the fact that it was a little bit more chewy.
Yeah.
It wasn't to the point of, was it 4 times less chewy than Delmonico's? No. So for the value of this place and the history,
Yes.
it's one of those places.
Inside is amazing. It's like stepping back in time. I think this place has been open since 1910.
It has, and the old owners who were ranching cattle are on the walls.
Yes, yeah.
And the server said that her grandfather
Yep.
remembers them and they used to do it all the time. So is it worth the history? Absolutely. They both have their own place
Yes,
in the steak
absolutely.
world. This is far more of a casual affair.
Yep, it was.
Equally as good.
But we came during the day and it was absolutely full, wasn't it?
Yes, it
So,
was.
I mean, it's a busy place. The one other thing that was a standout was that coconut pie, fruit pie.
Absolutely excellent.
For this price, $6, absolutely fantastic.
It's definitely worth a try. If you're in Oklahoma City, I'd recommend coming and just giving it a go.
Absolutely.
Until next time,
Thanks for watching.
bye bye.